will end with a word on the Canadian men's national team, but more specifically Alphonso Davies, because Gareth, coming up just before we know it, Vegas, baby, with the Concacaf Nations League. We see Alphonso return to training, at least running for the first time on Monday. Do you think, Gareth, that that's a bit of a sigh of relief for the supporters with such an important couple of tournaments coming up?
I don't know. The timeline seemed about right. I wasn't panicking or anything like that when he was first diagnosed. It seemed like it was manageable. So yeah, sure. I just wonder if like these might be the final days that we see Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich. I just wonder because he's trying to negotiate a new contract. Today, Sky Sports reported that Real Madrid not only has interest in Jude Bellingham, but Kylian Mbappe and Alphonso Davies as well. That's quite the shopping list. But when Davies is putting his name, uh, alongside the likes of Mbappe and Bellingham, that shows you his
Yeah.
clout and the desirability in world football. Real Madrid's been playing Camavinga at left back. Alphonso Davies would look really good in that position. It's a position of need. I heard whispers a year ago, something like that, that Davies would love to play for Real Madrid at some point. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but when you hear whispers, how much do you believe that? I don't know. Like, who wouldn't, by the way, who wouldn't want to play for Real Madrid? So it's not as if it's like a newsflash type situation, but if you the opportunity to go there, and with all due respect to Bayern Munich, a top club as well, but just Real Madrid just seems to be maybe where he ends up next. I don't know how his name gets looped in alongside Mbappe and Bellingham, but it's certainly one to follow. Could be a huge summer for Canadian players making significant moves. And I wouldn't, in terms of percentage, is it a 25% chance? Like Real Madrid is not going to sit still having not won La Liga. And if you can add a Bellingham and Davies to your ranks, wow, not bad.
I hear those bits of gossip, Ollie, and I go, well, if I just stay all the things I want, like I would like to own a home in the city of Toronto someday, perhaps. Maybe if I just do what Real Madrid does and put it out into existence, so you can find that millions and millions of dollars. But yeah, it is pretty ludicrous to see like just how many names that they can spit out. And we've already talked about the clout that they seem to have over the world of football. What would you like to add on Alphonso Davies before we say goodbye today?
Well, I think we had this conversation a few weeks ago where the interesting thing about Davies' situation is that Real Madrid certainly need a left back, as Wheels outlines. Manchester City have also been going through a season playing centre backs at left back, basically, whether it's been Aki or Laporte or Akanji. And so there's a potential need there as well. And it's not really all that common that you have two of the biggest clubs in the world, two of the most powerful spenders in the world, both kind of having the same position of needs that I think they will want to address this summer. And Alphonso Davies is the best player, in my opinion, at that position on the planet. Plus, his contract is not it's not a super urgent situation. He's not entering the last year next year, but he's got a couple of years left, and Bayern won't want to let him enter the last year because then you get in a situation where you might lose a player for less than you'd ideally like. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of it will be in Davies' hands. Does he want to continue with Bayern for a few more years and keep that going? Or is there the appetite there to play for Real Madrid or to play in the Premier League that starts to get tempting as obviously he thinks about where his next deal is going to be?
He's won
Gareth,
everything.
yeah.
He's won everything in Germany. Like, what does he want for his lifestyle? You know, I, Spain has a lot of appeal for players like Manchester, great city for a lot of, Munich, it's fine. But Madrid, I don't know. It seems like it's got the perfect balance between footballing ambition and lifestyle, and it could appeal. I could see why, if that's true, if he would want to make the move. I don't think it would be any indictment uh, to Bayern Munich, that club, what they've done for them or anything like that. But great players move on to even bigger clubs at some point. I think that Real Madrid is one of two or three that you can actually consider being bigger than Bayern Munich.
Yeah, and I was going to mention too, it's a very good point, Gareth, because I think when you consider where they are in the world and who sort of dominates or holds the cards or can push all the chips to the middle of the table, pick your analogy. Even with Holland, I remember reading that Bayern Munich was like, we were after him and we were considering making like a club record financial splash, but they have limitations. They aren't able to print money like some of these other clubs are somehow able to do. And it gets to a point where if there's a bidding war for Alphonso Davies between Manchester City and Real Madrid, for an example, I'm sure there is a number for Bayern Munich, as much as they'd love to keep him, that they'd go, okay, we'll think of all that we can do with this sum. So it's definitely a storyline that we will be keeping a very close eye on as we head into the summer and we get to another round of silly season in the world of football.